What really happened to Gold City's lineup? If you followed Gold City for any length of time, you've probably heard the whispers. Questions in the comment sections. Fans asking what really happened between the men now leading one of Southern Gospel's most storied quartets. The truth is far less dramatic than the rumour mill suggests, but it is a genuinely fascinating story about timing, transition, and how quickly a gospel legacy group can change shape. This is the real story of how Josh Feemster and Chris Jenkins ended up sharing the Gold City stage every week, and why so many fans got the timeline confused in the first place. A legacy built on change to understand why Gold City's lineup history causes so much confusion. You first have to understand something important about the group itself. Change has always been part of its story. Formed in 1980 in Dahlonega, Georgia, Gold City became one of the defining quartets of Southern Gospel's golden era, charting a string of #1 hits and launching the careers of icons like Brian Free, Ivan Parker, and Mark Trammell. But across more than 4 decades, the group has seen its lead, tenor, and bass positions change hands time and time again. Some singers leaving for solo careers, others stepping away and later returning, sometimes more than once. At the centre of the modern-day group is baritone Danny Riley, son of Hall of Fame bass singer Tim Riley, who has anchored Gold City as both performer and manager since the early 2000s. Around him, the front line has continued to shift, and nowhere was that more true than in the years leading up to today's lineup. The whirlwind few years here's where the confusion really starts, and it's worth walking through carefully. In January 2022, longtime lead singer Bruce Taliaferro, who had already left and returned to the group once before, announced his second departure. A Gadsden native named Cole Watson stepped in as his replacement. But within the year, both Watson and longtime tenor Thomas Nally had parted ways with the group. Then, in the autumn of 2022, Gold City made 2 announcements on the very same night. Bruce Taliaferro was returning for a 3rd stint as lead singer, and joining him as the group's new tenor was Chris Jenkins, a respected vocalist who'd previously sung with the Kingsman Quartet. So Chris Jenkins' arrival is tied historically to Bruce Taliaferro's return, not to Josh Feemster. That's an important distinction, because it's easy to see how fans watching from a distance might have lost track of exactly who arrived when. Less than a year later, in August 2023, Taliaferro left the group again. This time, his replacement was Josh Feemster, a veteran vocalist known for his work with Legacy 5 and Mercy's Mark. Why the rumours started this is really where most of the online speculation comes from. When a group experiences this many changes in such a short window, a departing lead, a temporary replacement, a returning veteran, a new tenor, and then another lead change all within about 18 months, it's genuinely hard for casual fans to track who was there first, who replaced whom, and why. Add to that the natural human instinct to assume that fast turnover must mean friction behind the scenes, and you get exactly the kind of speculation that's followed Josh Feemster and Chris Jenkins ever since they began sharing the stage. Questions about tension, unspoken conflict, or what really happened between them. But there's no public evidence of any falling out between the 2 men. What actually happened is simpler, if less dramatic. Gold City went through an unusually compressed stretch of lineup transitions, and 2 respected veteran singers from very different corners of Southern Gospel happened to land in the group within roughly a year of each other. The lineup that stuck what's followed since has, by most accounts, been one of Gold City's most stable and well-received lineups in years. Josh Feemster brings a powerful lead vocal and an energetic stage presence that audiences have responded to enthusiastically. Chris Jenkins, for his part, has become known as one of the strongest tenor voices currently touring in Southern Gospel. Alongside them, Jeff Chapman rounds out the bass position, trained, fittingly, under the tutelage of Gold City legend Tim Riley himself, with Danny Riley continuing to anchor the group at baritone and Terry Wooten on piano. Fans who've caught the current line up in concert regularly describe it as one of the tightest, most cohesive versions of Gold City in recent memory. A group that, far from being fractured, seems to have found its footing. So the next time you see someone online asking what really happened between Josh Feemster and Chris Jenkins, you'll know the honest answer. Nothing dramatic at all. Just a legacy quartet navigating a fast-moving stretch of changes, the way it has in one form or another for more than 4 decades. And 2 gifted singers who ended up exactly where they belonged, roughly a year apart, not overnight. Sometimes the most interesting story isn't the rumour, it's simply the truth told clearly.